whittier.tech.ma.us. All comments will be recorded to the record, and all attempts will be made to mention them live during the meeting. Any emails received during the meeting will be mentioned at the following meeting. Approval of minutes. Regular
Mr. Chair,
school committee meeting. Yes, Mr. Tucker.
I move the approval of the minutes of the regular school committee meeting of February 9th.
Second.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay, questions, discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Early.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Mr. Tucker.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Ms. True.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Mr. James. Did we lose Mr. James?
His screen looks frozen.
Okay,
I vote yes.
all right. Oh, okay. Sorry.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr.
I
Tucker.
move the minutes of executive session, February 9th, 2022.
Second.
Okay. Any comments or discussion, questions? None being heard, roll call vote. Mr. Early.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Mr. LaBella.
Yes.
Mr. Tucker.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mrs. True.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Mr. James.
He's offline.
Oh, okay. Treasurer's report. Motion for approval for the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
okay. Questions?
I got one quick
Labella.
You know, the grant money that ESSA that you talked about, will that be reflected in the treasury report?
It is not.
It's not, but
The grants are not on their treasurer's.
those ESSA grants, okay.
Anyone else? Roll call vote. Mr. Early.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Mr. LaBella.
Yes.
Mr. Tucker.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor. Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mrs. True.
Yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Old business, there is no old business posted. Reports and communications, student rep, Brian Link.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, and all other school committee members. The girls' basketball team had a great season and finished the second half real strong. The girls went 7-for-3 and missed the state tournament by only one game. The boys' basketball team had a successful return to competition after having the entire 2020 to 2021 season canceled. After playing to a 5-5 record for the first half of the season, they finished 8-for-2 over the final 10 games. Team qualified for the state vocational tournament for the first time since the 2016 to 17 season, and also qualified for the Division IV state tournament. While the voting process is yet to be completed, they are hopeful that the multiple members of the team will be considered for the CAC awards and all-star recognition. The wrestling team enjoyed one of the most successful seasons in Whittier Tech history this year. For the first time in program history, they were the 2022 Commonwealth Athletic Conference champions over rival Shawshene Tech. Whittier had placed winning wrestlers at the Division II North Sectional, Division II State, and all-state tournaments this postseason. Senior Lucas Welling became the first Wildcat wrestler in history to both place at the all-state tournament as well as to compete in the New England tournament. On to clubs. Chess Club continues to flourish. Attendance is typically around 20 plus students. The Drama Club play is set to perform on March 18th, 19th, and 20th. The set is complete and the group is running scenes preparing for dress rehearsals next week. Volunteers are all set and the last bit of costuming is being finished. Pre-sale tickets are $8 and in the school store. Otherwise, the tickets are $10 at the store. Let's see, 182 students are registered to participate in the district competition for Skillsusa on March 17th at Whittier Tech. Students will be taking the test in the gym from 8 to 10:30. As students complete their testing, they will have the opportunity to exit the gym at the rear and come outside to enjoy some Caribbean music and Kona ice. I will enjoy that. Scores will be available within a few days. Students who place first, second, or third will be eligible to move on to the state conference. State conference will be held in person over several days, but there are no overnights this year in response to COVID-19 concerns. The UN team is preparing for the Umass Lowell Model UN Conference to be held April 5th to the 7th. team will debate topics such as the crisis in Ukraine, finding solutions to foreign political stability in Haiti, NATO expansion, and mitigating the risk of space debris. Students and advisors alike are all excited for the event. The Environmental Club is currently setting up a tower garden for display in the Poets Inn, which will grow mint, basil, and Swiss chard. They're also talking with Skillsusa team to organize an Earth Day event. The club is currently waiting to hear about possible involvement of the carpentry department in the club to build nesting boxes for the bluebirds and swallowtails in partnership with Parker River Clean Water Association. The previous Interact Club meeting was used to brainstorm spring events. They are planning another wildcat walk, as they have done in the past, as well as planting something at the school for Earth Day. Ski Club had 2 successful trips this winter to Pat's Peak and Waterville Valley. Students interested in purchasing hoodies did so through the school store and are waiting for the hoodies to arrive. The Journalism Club students recently published the February issue of Wildcats magazine. Some students volunteered to go to the lunches to ask students if they wanted to write a Valentine shout out for the February magazine. They had them create animated gift Valentine cards for each shout out. Ms. Parsons shared some PR stories that she's written, and 2 students wrote a story on the Clue play. And 1 student wrote a culinary story. A few students have been taking photos after school. Next week, they will begin working on the April issue. Student government is hard at work on plans for a Spring Spirit Week. They're hoping to hold a dance in the fall of 2022. Student government is looking forward to honoring the teachers during Teacher Appreciation Week in May. In March, the Multicultural Club will have Miss Katie Staunton visit the club to share a special presentation on Irish dancing. In April, they will be hosting their Bystander Intervention Awareness Initiative. That's a mouthful. In Robotics Club, students are working on programming fundamentals. Peer-to-peer will be sending out Easter cards to Baker Cats in the Oxford Nursery Home with some help from Interact Club members. Key Club is busy planning a Change Wars competition to be held at the end of March, beginning of April. Students will have about 2 weeks where they can put their loose change in a jar. Bills will deduct points from the total. Class with the most points at the end of the competition will win. The winning class will get the money in their jar and donate it to their class. The other money raised will go towards a local charity. They meet this week to finalize their plans. This week, the printer will receive and start to print the first 100 pages of the yearbook. Those pages consist of staff, seniors, shops, fall and winter sports. Spring sports team photos will be taken as soon as practices begin. The final pages, spring sports, baby section, and sponsor section will go to press by the end of the month. And Art Club continues to grow, hosting around 25 members each Tuesday. Projects range from painting to clay construction and firing using their in-class kiln. Students continue to enjoy socialization and making art in this relaxed and creative environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions for Ryan?
Just want to say that I always look forward to the activities report, and it's nice to hear you. We're covered just about everything.
All right, moving on. Superintendent's report. Ms. Litch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Tonight before you, for informational purposes, I have hires. I have a cafeteria helper. I have a learning loss coordinator. I have vacation boot camp instructors. I have a transition specialist. I have a CVTE Equitable Access Admissions Team Facilitator. I have a MyCap team member, and I have ELA MCAS After School Program Spring 2020. Spring 2022. Thank you. Jeez. As you know, we held a budget workshop this evening and discussed a budget which contained a 6.74% increase. The public hearing for the FY23 budget is scheduled for Wednesday, April 13th, 2022 at 6:15 p.m. Keep going. Okay. Whittier is offering a free MCAS prep program to grade 10 students in the area of English language arts on Mondays and Thursdays until March 21st. Free transportation and snacks are also being offered. I said snacks. The class of 2024 will take English language arts MCAS on March 22nd and March 23rd, 2022. On Friday, February 11th, I attended the North Shore Superintendent's Roundtable meeting at Danvers High School. On Wednesday, February 16th, I had another interview with Wynn from WHAV. We discussed our early college program, our senior exploratory program, and our marine technology program. On Thursday, March 3rd, I attended the MAVA 2022 Spring General Membership Meeting along with many members of our administrative staff. Commissioner Riley was in attendance and we were able to honor our presidential scholar nominee, Chloe Samard, at this event. On Friday, March 4th, I hosted the Mayor of Newburyport, Sean Reardon, for a tour along with Chairman Murphy. I want to thank Mr. Leganis for helping out with the tour. On Monday, March 7th, I attended the Merrimack Finance meeting along with Kara Cosmas. On Tuesday, March 8th, Whittier hosted the Merrimack Valley Superintendents Association meeting here at the Poets Inn. We had 30 superintendents from the Merrimack Valley in attendance. I really want to say hats off to the culinary department. They had their first function in 2 years here, and they did an amazing job. And the superintendents were very impressed with our students, with our culinary department, and I was the envy of all after they left. We have been mask optional for the last 2 weeks. I would say about 50% of our students and staff are wearing masks. It's nice to see people's faces again. I hired teachers 2 years ago, and I'm seeing what they look like for the first time. So we're looking forward to our advisory board meeting. There will be a dinner meeting, and we haven't had one of those in 2 years, and we're having that on April 7th. And that is my report tonight. I also have a field trip report for students going to first robotics competition in Durham, New Hampshire.
Mr. Early.
Do we have the proper paperwork?
We will have the proper
Thank you.
paperwork before they head off.
Do we need a vote for that? Okay. We're gonna vote for approval for the trip. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. LaBella,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Mr. Urban.
Aye.
Is that it for you? Okay. Principals report, Mr. Leganis.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, rest of the school committee members. As you heard from Ryan, he covered a lot of the fun stuff that's happening at school. All winter sports finished up last week, and I just want to congratulate all the teams, student athletes, coaches on such a successful winter sports season. It was quite a pleasure to have sports back. Also want to thank the Booster Club again for putting up with us and also fighting through the surge, the Omicron surge when we came back, and they were able to come back into the building and do their thing. So that was excellent too as well. Spring sports signups are open. So sign up. Spring practices will start March 21st. Also, don't forget to play. Clue, it's a hilarious farce meets murder mystery. If you can pencil in the dates, Friday, 3/18, Saturday, 3/19. Those are both at 7 p.m. And then on Sunday, 3/20, they'll be at 2 p.m. So that's our play this year. Also, you heard the Skillsusa on Thursday, March 17th. The qualifying test will take place here at Whittier on site. We have 182 students registered for this event for both weeks. Students will be competing in their trade areas on the computer. Guidance counselors are also wrapping up interviews and incoming 9th grade students. They're finished. They pretty much finished with all the outside visits and are doing. They're doing makeup visits as we speak. And finally, our winter sports awards night we will have in the gymnasium will be at 6 o'clock. You can pencil that in as well on March 15th on Tuesday. And that's all I have for you.
At what time?
That should probably go off at 6.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions for Mr. Leganis? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Business Manager, Kara Cosmas.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, members of the committee. Couple of things for you this evening. First of all, I wanted to present some bid results. We had a bid for some marine equipment and supplies. This was actually awarded under a grant that Ms. Lynch talked about earlier when we were doing the budget hearing. It was the Mass Capital Skills Grant. Yamaha Motor Corporation USA was the sole bidder, and the bid for this equipment and supplies was $62,095.71. I also wanted to let you know that we received certification from DOR that our excess and on February 23rd, the district received notification that its excess and deficiency fund was certified for FY '21 in the amount of $1,026,005 by the Department of Revenue. Do you have any questions on either of those items? And that's all I have.
All right.
Thank you.
Chairperson. School committee self-evaluation. We've only received 6 so far.
Ooh, I forgot.
Do you have a paper?
We need to
copy?
get those in.
Do we have a paper copy of these? I sort of started trying to do it on my laptop thing and I didn't have very much luck. Well, it sent me to a classroom.
Remedial.
I just couldn't, I just didn't know how to do it. I'm sure it's there, but
So can we work on this for next month? When do we want to set a date to get these in? Lisa? 13th. Let's get them in by April 1st. Okay,
if you give me a paper one, I'll drop it off at the school. When are we gonna sign warrants again?
we do.
Oh, okay.
The same way we do the self-evaluation.
Stop picking on him.
There we go.
Okay, moving on. April annual agenda items. Reorganization of the committee. Review of the annual agenda. Review of school committee goals, variance analysis. Now we need to have a vote on the annual organization meeting date and time, which is proposed as April 13th, 2022 at 5 p.m. Do we have a motion for that? Second. Any questions?
Will there be a remote option?
What's the dinner? So we'll have
With
the
the
dinner.
dinner, there will be a remote.
If you can figure out how to eat remotely, sure.
Oh, I can, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so, okay.
No, I didn't know if there was any voting going on with the discussion.
Well, there will be later on in the evening for that. We'll go over those times.
So we won't be meeting the Monday ahead of time for reorg?
I think it's doing it in one day.
No, we talked about doing it all in one time, one day.
That's how we used to do it at one time.
We used to do it on,
Well,
we did it on Monday and then we had the meeting right after that on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you do the dinner at 5 and then the reorg meeting at 6:15. And then the public hearing at 6:25 and then the school committee meeting at 6:30, all on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Does that work?
That's a lot of work.
Works for me. Just thinking about it.
We'll feed you well, don't worry.
Any questions?
We get pills.
Okay,
So that's the
We need to-
13th of April.
yes, beginning at 5 o'clock.
Move
Okay. Do we have a second?
all those meetings, organization on the same day, April 13th.
Okay. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
yes.
Mr. LaBella,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
Yes,
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald. Yes. Ms. O'Connor,
Yes,
Mrs. Drew,
Yes,
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Subcommittee reports, executive. We did have a meeting February 9th, February 22nd. The minutes are in your package. Questions? Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to accept the minutes.
Second? Second. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. LaBella,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor, Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
yes,
Mrs. True,
Yes,
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Instructional personnel, Dr. Testaverde is not here this evening. I don't believe there's anything.
We have not met.
Okay. Plan operations, Mr. Tucker.
Has not met. Should we meet to reorganize? I don't know if we have a,
I think it probably would be a
True.
good idea for us to kind of discuss some of our plans.
all right, and we're already tied up before the next meeting.
Yes, so.
Do it before the May meeting.
Yeah, you want to do the May meeting?
Yeah.
Or
All right,
May?
that sounds
Okay.
good.
May 6 o'clock.
Salary and negotiations, Mr. Early.
Yes, we had a meeting and we have to approve the minutes for February 3rd.
so moved,
Move a second.
Second.
second,
Mr. Early,
Yes,
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Mr. LaBella,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor, Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
yes,
Mrs. True,
yes,
Mr. Irving.
Aye.
Policy, Mr. Irving.
We have not met, but we probably need a meeting before the June annual meeting policy update. So probably in May, again, maybe next month, we'll decide what the best date is and what's coming forward with the superintendent and the state. But we do usually review in June all policies, so I would suggest we meet maybe in May, quick meeting.
May 5:45. May 5:45.
5:40. 5:45, okay, Mr. Irving?
I can't really hear what the superintendent said.
5:45,
Yeah, that'd be fine. That's the May meeting, right?
yes. Okay. Meeting dates, public hearing on the FY '23 budget, April 13th, 2022. Begin at 5 PM with dinner. Again, 6:15, the reorg meeting, 6:25, the public hearing, and 6:30, the regular school committee meeting. New business, there's no new business posted. And there is no executive session.
Move we adjourn.
posted.
Second.
We need to vote. Mr. Early,
yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. LaBella,
Yes.
Mr. Tucker,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor, Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
yes.
Mrs. True,
yes.
Mr. Irving.
Aye.